post-World War II America, many Americans at home had money saved up that they couldn't spend due to rationing in World War II, and many soldiers coming home were getting their paycheck for serving in the U.S. Army. With all these soldiers coming home, the government signed the GI Bill in order to allow the soldiers to get an education and save money with low-interest loans. Another result of all these young men returning home is the mass production of suburban housing to hold all the families who could afford to live in them.
The middle-class white Americans were the specific group of people that would participate in the American dream because most of them who served in the U.S. Army were young white men, and the GI Bill was only for soldiers returning home. During post-World War II America, families living in the American dream included husbands with white-collar careers and wives who stayed at home to take care of the family and maintain the house, and they all enjoyed leisure time where they lived. The only place where Americans could participate in the American dream is in the suburbs where they raised their families. A lot of typical television shows from the 1950s show this and other traditional family values of the era. During the 1950s, America experienced a large increase of population known as the baby boom. One child was born nearly every 7 seconds. The auto industry grew as many cars were built and sold in this time period, and more roads were built and major highways were constructed. As a result of the post-war boom, the auto industry grew because many people living in the suburbs needed cars to travel to and from work every day. African Americans were affected by the American dream mainly because the dream didn't include them, and with a lot of white people moving to the suburbs, African Americans were left behind in the cities, like Detroit. Many struggles that were involved with the American dream were the segregation between whites and minorities. There were many communities of just white people, and communities of minorities became prevalent due to white flight, Caucasians moving into suburbs. African American soldiers returning home wouldn't have the same opportunity with the GI Bill, simply due to discrimination. Another struggle with the American dream is that there were many women that weren't content with being a housewife taking care of the house and kids. Some women wanted to be able to work in the same careers as men and wanted equal pay. This coincided with the civil rights movement and became well known as feminism. Major successes during the American Dream era were the auto industry boom, as many families were buying cars and big auto companies were selling cars to them. In the rural areas, the suburbs were growing as many jobs were needed to build houses, and roads were also needed, along with the construction of major highways. This provided even more jobs. With all these people needed to do work everywhere, there was very little unemployment rates during the post-World War II boom. Some immediate impacts of post-World War II America are the construction of suburbs for the large population of soldiers returning home. Gasoline was cheap and inexpensive in this time period, and also because of the auto boom in the suburbs, there was a lot of jobs for people to take, building roads and working in auto factories, and also to participate in the white-collar careers needed for the dream. Long-term effects of this was the segregation of white communities and minorities. Many roads and highways built that still provide use today. Suburbs scattered all over the U.S. The many white-collar jobs that people achieved during post-World War II era. A lot of middle class was educated because of the GI Bill, and because of the confidence in the economy after World War II, the discovery of the polio vaccine, younger marriages, and many soldiers returning home. The fast incline in population, known as the baby boom, was another long-term effect during the American Dream era. Because of the baby boom, many schools were built and toy companies grew.